Hello. So I've been meaning to make these videos for a while now. Um, they're just going to kind of go over what I'm thinking day to day, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so right now I'm thinking a lot about money because it's the thing that you need to keep indie hacking. You literally, if you run out of money, you have to go get a full-time job, which is what I have to do right now. So it kind of sucks. I don't want to run out of money, and I just kind of want to talk about how I got here. So I had this product called Remake. It made this much money, about probably a little bit less than that, especially because I subscribed to it myself. So probably about $500 of that is me just paying myself. And then these are the fees over here, so minus that, it's probably like $1,900. Not a lot of money. I also made a ghost theme like 10 years ago. I made a t-shirt like 8 years ago. I probably made a total of like $800 from those combined in sales. So that was also good. But that's the most experience I have making on money online. Remake's the best I've ever done, but Remake was a huge amount of work. It took me multiple years working on it basically full time. I built out all of the content and pages and marketing and demos and documentation and email sequences and landing pages and tutorial sequences and tutorial videos and live streams all from scratch. It was like so much work. I hired animators and illustrators and copywriters, um, and yeah, it definitely spent a lot more money on it than it ever gave back to me. And it's because I wanted to make it a full business. It was a full stack framework. It was really innovative. I still think it's a super good idea, but it was a shit ton of work, and it was really hard to explain the value that was behind it. Um, so what I'm thinking now is like there must be an easier way to make money. I know a lot of things. I know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I'm like almost an expert at all of those things. I've worked at startups a lot. I know how to find product market fit, or at least I did at the last couple companies I worked at. Um, and I'm really good at customer research. I'm really good at prototyping. I can build an app, like a full app or a full game in like a week. I'm pretty good at that. And I'm also pretty good at design. So I think I could talk about some of these things on videos and share them and see if, maybe there would be an audience for people buying them. And so my question is like, these things are valuable, right? Like people want to learn about these things, right? Um, so this brings me back to it's hard to explain the value, right? And this is kind of where I always get stuck. And this is what I've been focusing on for the past 5 years of trying to learn marketing. It doesn't matter how much you know or how much you work. All that matters is who's your audience, what do they care about, what will they pay you for, and what's your plan for getting them to pay you for it. So these past like few months, I've really been researching these last two things because I'm much more comfortable now um, uh, figuring out who my audience is and building an audience and kind of like releasing semi-viral things. Like I know that if I spend a week on something, most likely it'll go at least semi-viral, right? And it's a lot of work, especially if it only gets like 20 likes, which I classify as semi-viral, but sometimes it's gotten a few hundred likes, the types of things that I release. But usually it correlates with how much I work on it and how much effort and thought and pain I put into it. It is just really a tremendous amount of work. Um, but these last two steps are really where I get stuck because I know how to put free content out there that people will click on to like, but getting them to actually open up their wallets is a whole different challenge. So I've been following these OG indie hackers, Nathan Barry, Adam Wathan, and Peter Levels. Adam Wathan, definitely my favorite, most relatable. I understand why he created Tailwind. I still haven't used it myself, but I bought multiple copies of Refactoring UI. I would buy pretty much anything that he released. I think he's really good at Twitter. Nathan Barry created ConvertKit, one of my favorite tools. I use it myself to build up my email list. And Peter Levels, everyone knows Peter Levels. Yeah, super envious of him and how he's been able to build up a solo business on a single PHP file and just is a total badass. So these guys have different strategies for how to get people to pay and how to kind of grow an audience at the same time. And I've kind of simplified these down. I don't understand these guys through and through. I'm not saying this is all they stand for, but these are some of the key things I've gotten out of their blog posts and their content. Nathan Barry seems to really emphasize showing up every day and just like showing other people that you're showing up every day by putting content out there and making sure people are connecting with your work and that you're educating them. You're kind of showing them how you do the things you do by just, doing it in public. So I think that's like really, really cool. He was doing Build in Public way before it became a thing. Adam Wathan, I really like his emphasis on marketing. He has a few marketing videos at MicroConf that are on YouTube. Really highly recommended. You should never do this in a video, but I'm going to say it. Go to those videos. They're much more valuable than this video. Adam Wathan is just a total boss. I've rewatched his MicroConf videos several times. And he talks a lot about the strategy of like building up an audience as you're building the product so that by the time you release the product, you have an audience that's like frothing at the mouth, like wanting to get your content because they know how good it is. You've been putting, free versions of it out there the whole time. And I don't think he says exactly like give 90% of everything away for free. I think he like gave away 60% of some of his ebooks contents for free. But I think that ratio has gone down as his reputation has gone up because obviously he doesn't need to like give away the content to show how high quality it is. But I think if you're just starting out, giving 90% of everything you're doing away for free makes sense. And then saving that like last 10%, that's the hardest part for the paid users, is a good strategy. And then Peter Levels, really down-to-earth guy. He has some also fantastic, phenomenal talks on YouTube. Really makes you just like want to sit down and launch a new startup. But he's all about launching, just like launch and test, launch and test, launch and test. And you can even like, he talks about like rebranding his products just in order to give it another launch, like another chance to shine and like go out there and be viral. So I think those make sense, and they're all kind of related, right? All of them are kind of giving things away for free. All of them are constantly launching, and all of them are showing up like almost every day. So they share a lot of the same strategies. And, it's kind of they're kind of like the OGs of building in public. Now, the thing that that this brings me to is like, who cares, right? I've spent the past couple of weeks like researching these guys. I spent the last 10 years following, people who are building in public all the way back to like Balsamic and Basecamp and all those OGs, right? And then I've been following like Adam Wathan for years. Nathan Barry, I stumbled across in the last 6 months. I've been reading his content, even though I've used ConvertKit for a lot longer than that. And Peter Levels, ever since he did that 12 startup launches in 12 months thing, what was it, like 10 years ago? I've been following him. But none of this matters if you don't know how to get people to buy. So like these are all strategies for like building an audience and like building up excitement over time, but like how do you actually get people to convert at the end of the day? You not only do you have to have an audience for these strategies to work, but you need to know how to talk to that audience, and you need to know how to get them to buy. So it's kind of like this eternal struggle for me because I'm like, okay, I can put content out there that's going to do well for free, but how can I guarantee or like, I don't know, figure out how to get people to actually buy something and make it worth it. Like I don't want to like not make it worth it for them. And part of me is like, oh no, just keep putting stuff out for free. And then like eventually you get really good at putting stuff out for free and people will start begging you to like charge them for it because it's too valuable. And so then you could start charging for it. Because part of me is like really afraid of charging for stuff. Because I'm really afraid it won't be valuable. So this is what I've kind of done so far. I've built up my audience to almost 3,000 followers on Twitter. And I have a ConvertKit email list, or multiple lists actually, that combine to 989 subscribers. The problem with ConvertKit, I'll just go through that one first. The problem with ConvertKit is all my users are in different lists. So a lot of these subscribers are like not responding to my emails anymore. Like they're not even reading them, right? I think it's about 500 of them just aren't engaged anymore, which is a huge number and really awful. Um, some of them have subscribed more recently to my more recent projects. So I have VAR, I have 31 launches, um, I have some other ones, Boxes CSS, a CSS framework. So some of them have subscribed to those, and then about 400 of them are Remake subscribers. And I think a lot of those Remake subscribers are also the ones that have kind of dropped off in like attention because I haven't been sending as many Remake emails recently. And so what I'm worried about is that I have like a pretty big audience, but buyers might actually be like a pretty small, tiny subsection of my actual subscribers. And then for Twitter, it's like even more of a problem because there's no real way to go viral, to like guarantee you'll go viral. I know that like bigger accounts, it kind of seems like they know they have like that they know they have the secret and that they everything they put out there like gets a million likes. But if you look at most people's timelines, like a lot of even the most popular accounts have like some tweets with like 20 likes or whatever. So it's even hard for them to go viral. And I think there is actually a lot going on behind the scenes in order for them to go viral. And I actually had a brief conversation with Adam Wathan on Twitter where he said, I think he spent like a week on some of his tweets early on when he was preparing to launch refactoring UI. And he would like discuss it with his business partner for, and like, not constantly, not 24/7 be working on the tweet, but like it would take them a week to actually like prep it and do the copywriting and make the content and revise it, that whole process. And that was just really interesting to me because that matches my experience of creating quality content. But it's just wild that like I can literally post something on Twitter in like 10 seconds, right? Like I can just go do that right now. But putting that extra thought into it, might actually be worth it. So that brings me to Mr. Beast's secret formula for going viral. This is a video I watched on YouTube recently. I don't usually watch Mr. Beast videos, but I like him, and I think he's a high quality creator. And then this guy, CoffeeZilla, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. He interviewed Mr. Beast. And one of the cool, like, key things that Mr. Beast said in his YouTube video is you want to set expectations high, like really high, with the title of your video and the thumbnail of your video, and then when people click on the video, you want to just blow those expectations out of the water, starting with the first like 10 seconds. Like you have 10 seconds to really hook them and like show them that not only are you doing exactly what you said in the title and the thumbnail of your video, but you're doing like 200% more than that. And if you do that, then people are going to stick around. You're not going to get that huge drop off that like most videos get in attention, right at the start of the video. You're going to actually retain people and they're going to keep watching throughout the whole video. And then they're going to be like, whoa, that was so awesome. I'm going to watch your next video now. And that's really the loop that you want to get them into if you want to create viral content, because a lot of your viewers are going to be watching multiple videos. And that's why everything gets high view counts on your channel, is because it's all really high quality enough that people stick around. Okay, and kind of the key advice that comes down to from that video is that ideas matter. He spends a lot of time discussing ideas with his team. He scraps a lot of his ideas. He has a team to actually bounce ideas off of, super important. He works a lot. He works like, it feels like 24/7. Sometimes he doesn't get a lot of sleep, especially in the early days when he was first starting out. And then just like make sure you consistently put great stuff out there. And all of those early steps have to do with that, right? If you're constantly cycling through ideas until you find ones that you know are really good, and then you're developing those with a team to make them really high quality, then you're gonna, consistently put good stuff out there, instead of just kind of doing it all in private, all in your own head, and then like just kind of guessing and hoping that it's actually good without checking with anyone. And then this was a key quote from the Mr. Beast video. It's just, you want people to like look at the title and thumbnail of your video and like be like, what the fuck, like I need to know what he said in that video. Like I need to know. And if they don't feel that extreme amount of energy around like watching your content, you're not going to get them to click and you're not going to get them hooked. And I kind of have mixed feelings about that, right? I mean, there's kind of an over-promising thing that can happen there, where you mislead people. But I think if you really do this part, right, where you set the expectations high, but then you beat those expectations by 200%, then I think this kind of strategy actually works. Okay, so that's kind of how to go viral again, right? And so let's get into like how to actually get people to pay for things. And these are just my thoughts. And my theory is that you should give away 90% of your stuff for free, just like Adam Wathan was saying in his microconf videos. It should be very high quality stuff. You should spend like a week on every piece of content. And this you can do to get feedback on your content and also build a lot of followers. So if you don't have a lot of followers yet, you should pretty much just be churning out free content that's super high quality. Stuff that you might charge, $100 for, $100 for each thing to a client. You're just going to give that for free on the internet, right? A week of your work, that should be worth at least $100 to a client. So if you can do that, you can package that up into a small package and just give it away for free. That's a really, really good strategy. And it's also going to tease your final product, right? So if you're giving away all of this content and it's related to your final product, then when that final product comes out, then that's going to be 10% of the total amount of content that you're producing, but it's going to be very high value. So it's going to be kind of like the hardest thing to do. So this 90% free stuff might be like, hey, here's how you hook up like, 5 different services to like do what you want it to do. And it's like a little bit of a fragile thing and it takes a lot of work and you have to do a lot of manual work. And then this paid product is like, hey, we can do that all for you. Like just pay us $200 or whatever, and we'll just, give you the solution. So this kind of strategy and the strategies that we mentioned above with Mr. Beast and Adam Wathan and Peter Levels, it's a huge production. It's like a movie release. You're doing this stair-step approach where you're releasing things gradually. You're taking weeks of work for each little piece of content. You're making sure everything is super high quality. You're building up an audience over time. You're building up excitement over time. You're teasing the final product, right? It's like this huge, huge path, this huge goal. And then finally, you're going to get to the big launch day. And by that point, you're going to be able to guarantee your launch is a success. Now, my question is there an easier way? Because honestly, I'm just super frustrated by the idea that I have to spend my life just like building up all of these things with no guarantee of success. And it's just like a lot of work. Is there a way that I can make it easier? And I think there is. I think you can literally just launch. And I think a lot of people don't use this strategy. And you will go into why. But it requires a lot of guesswork. So yeah, we're going to go into why right away. You have to have a lot of guesswork. If you're just going to launch something paid in 1 week, or 2 weeks, right? I think 2 weeks is a more reasonable time than 1 week. But let's say you have an idea. You can execute it in a couple of weeks, right? You can make a landing page for it. You can make some good content, maybe a video. And you kind of feel like you understand your audience because you are the audience, right? You better be the customer persona. Otherwise, you need to do interviews with customers, and that's going to take you longer than a week. And then you can just write and record something and throw it on Gumroad, right? So Gumroad's just like a really easy way to sell something. So you have your content, and then... Sorry, my light just went out. I think my power went out. But anyways, you have your content, then you have your Gumroad page, and then you need a tweet. And I feel like if you do that, you can still learn the same way as doing like a full stair-step approach to like a big launch. And the question is like, is it bad? It's just risky. It's not bad. Like you can put this out there as like a single launch, and it might fail. Like you might get 20 likes, and that would not be a great thing. And what would you do if it doesn't do well, right? The whole point, like we discussed, of building it up over time is that you guarantee some success, right? You've been building up an audience, you've been building up excitement. People know that your quality is high, your content is high quality, and so by the time you release that final thing, that final missing piece of the puzzle, people are going to jump on it, right? So I think the longer, harder approach assumes that the hard part is building the content, is building the core course or the core, videos. And so what you do in order to do that is you set up all this scaffolding, right? You set up an email list, you set up a landing page, you make the landing page look really nice, you build up testimonials over time, right? But if the content is actually pretty easy to produce, then you can whip up a landing page quickly, and then you don't have to do all those things, right? You don't have to have a product pre-launch and product pre-sales and a slow drip of content and, trying to build up some FOMO for people so that they're going to buy as soon as you launch. And I've been calling this minimum viable launch. You can call it whatever you want. I think it's kind of a cool name for it. And basically what it means is like if you can find a way to just launch within a couple of weeks, then you can use that to improve the way that you launch and the way that you do marketing and the way that you talk about things, and then you can just launch again. And I think this has some of the benefits of both, right? So you still can release a lot of content for free, right? So, and you can still build up testimonials, but they're just for your personal brand instead of for the upcoming product. You can still release really high quality content, right? 2 weeks is enough time to come up with something pretty high quality. And if you have the skills to like set up a landing page or the tools, right? Because there's some really great tools out there that let you do this really quickly. If you have the tools to put up a landing page really quickly, you can just kind of put up a landing page, make people be able to pay you, put up some, ebook, and then, the ebook's going to be everything you know about some niche or some problem that not a lot of people know about. And then you can use that to provide a ton of value and just launch it and then just keep doing that. And I think that's a pretty good strategy. And I think that's kind of the one that I want to use and learn, because my main focus right now is I don't feel like right now I know how to get people to pay. So if I can figure that out by doing this like launch and launch again, then I can have more confidence in the stair-step approach, because I really would like to do the stair-step approach where it feels like a movie release, right? I mean, it's just super exciting. A lot of people, they only see the final launch, right? They only see the Twitter post with 2,000 likes, around some product that they've never heard about before. But what they haven't seen behind the scenes is that Adam Wathan has been, telling people about it, over time through his email list or on his Twitter. And he's been posting screenshots, and he's been, posting testimonials, and he's been building up FOMO. And then a lot of people, they only see, the viral tweet or the newsletter mention or the product hunt launch that gets 2,000 upvotes, and they don't see all of the work that goes on behind the scenes to guarantee the success of that type of launch. So I would like to do that kind of thing, but I don't have enough confidence in the kind of final steps of like actually converting people to paid customers right now, that I feel like it's better for me to kind of just put stuff out there that's a little bit smaller in scope, but it's still super, super ultra valuable, and just kind of learn, do I need the full kind of movie production approach? Is that really just the smarter way to do it? Or are there other things that I was missing in this kind of launch scope? And how much, customer feedback do I need? How many testimonials do I need? All of that would just be really interesting for me to know. And so I think I'm going to just try to do this kind of launch, improve, launch, improve, launch, improve, and just like charge, like $20 for each launch, and see what people think. And yeah, so what about launching more than once? So if you have like a tech product, like a piece of software, or you have an info product, I think you can launch more than once. With an info product, obviously you need to improve it, or you need to have a different angle on it, right? A different audience, or a different goal for yourself, or a different goal for your audience. But I think with tech products, software, it's actually even easier than that. You can just make a new page, describe like the behind the scenes of how a new feature works, describe a new workflow, and if you have an easy way of setting up a new page, and just like you can fill in the content with what customers have told you that they need, or something they're missing, then I think of course you can do a new launch based on that and kind of treat it almost like it's a whole new product. And I feel like you can do that for info products as well, because I feel like the more you learn about like the ecosystem that you're building for and that you want to support, the more you kind of see these little holes in the ecosystem that other people haven't filled in yet. And so the more you learn and the more you put out there, the more you can grow and yeah, and like launch better and better things. Yeah, so that's my strategy. That's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, bye.